Hey guys, it's Tony again. I would like to show you how to pose a figure very quickly, how I pose a figure in Zbrush. Here is a model I made of James Arness as the Thing from Another World. This is the original movie, the 1951 movie, The Thing. So as you can see, he is symmetrical. He's very symmetrical. Let me turn off perspective. So actually the head and the hands and the feet are perfectly symmetrical, right? And the base. Let's turn off the base because that's not going to, we're not going to need that right now. The feet, the hands, and the head are perfectly symmetrical. But the torso, you can see the folds and that flap that goes across his chest, this little pocket, the wrinkles in his elbows and the wrinkles in his pants are not symmetrical. I broke up the symmetry as I sculpted just for my own sake, just for my own interest, to keep my head in the game and stay interested. And I'm going to have to do that anyway after I pose it, so I just wanted to have a little fun and not do perfectly symmetrical wrinkles all over the figure. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. The pose is very symmetrical. So what we want to do is, if you look, I want to bring your attention over to the subtool list. I have head, torso. I haven't named them, which is bad. I should name them. Head, torso, arms, legs, feet, and that's the base. All of these subtools, if you look in under geometry, all of them have 4 subdivisions. That is crucial. That's the most important thing. You need low subdivisions to pose the figure well and properly. So I'm just going to scroll down the subtool list. I'll start at the head and I'll go down. That's the torso, 4 subdivisions. That's the arms, 4 subdivisions, the legs, 4 subdivisions, and the feet, 4 subdivisions. So technically, if I merge those visible subtools down and make it one solid figure, I will retain the 4 subdivisions. So let's try that. Let's go to merge visible. Now, you can see the head alone has 5 million active points. The torso, let's see, it's still calculating. It's still merging everything. The total points of the whole figure and the base is almost 30 million. So if you try to pose a part, like the arms, for example, okay, the torso has 3.7 million. The arms have, oh my gosh, 6.5 million. The legs are 3.5 million, and even the shoes alone are 5 million. If you try to pose these arms with 6.5 million points, it's not going to work. If I try to mask off the upper arms, for example, and bend this forearm up, it's not gonna, unless your computer is like a super powerful computer, it's gonna kind of stagger and step, and it's not gonna obey your commands. It's not gonna do what you want it to do. But if you slide that down, this slider, if you slide that down to 1, suddenly you went from 6.5 million to 100,000, and that's incredible. That's going to make it very easy to pose these arms. See that? Whoa, we don't want to move, we want to rotate. And you can easily, it's in real time, it's posing. Right? So, and watch what happens if I try to do that with 6.5 million. See that? And It's very frustrating. It's not going where you want it to go. It's staggering. So that's the point of having low subdivisions. So let's go over here and see. Here's our merged thing. Hopefully it kept the subdivision. Yes, it did. 4. So now I've got one piece. It's got all of its polygroups, but it's one subtool, right? Now I can pose it. And what I want to try to do is just make him walking forward, like lurching forward a little bit, like he did in the movie, in the scene in the movie. Nothing crazy. Just want to bend some limbs a little bit and just make the pose less stiff. So let's see. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mask off this leg. Now I've got my highest subdivision. It's 24 million, right? Total points 24 million. The one subtool is 24 million. So I'm going to mask off this leg. Let's see. Let's try a circle mask. Right about there. Right? Now you see how hard that line is of the mask? I'm going to drop it down to one subdivision, level 1, and you see how soft it is? And by tapping, it softens it even more. Right? Now I'm going to invert my mask by tapping off the model, holding down Control and tapping. Just softening the mask. And make the leg active and everything else masked. Everything else is masked. So I'm just going to bring this leg forward a little bit. I'm not going to use the gizmo. I'm going to use my transpose chains. So the gizmo is off. So I take my chain and I start it like right here, where the pivot point will be. Right there. And now I'm just going to pull this leg out like that. Then I'm going to mask off at the knee. Now there's going to be some repair work, obviously, but when you're on your first subdivision, your lowest subdivision, the damage that you're going to do to the topology and the wrinkles and stuff, the surface, is going to be much less. So let's do the same thing. Let's put our pivot point right around there at the knee and kind of drag that down. All right. I'm going to turn on the floor so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to grab the middle circle and just pull it outward a little bit. This is the move chain now. Rotate down a little bit more just so that foot is flat. And now he's kind of stepping a little bit. Okay, let's do the same with the other leg. Or something a little different with the other leg. Let's mask off, tap to soften. And let's pull this leg back a little bit. Okay. And maybe bend this knee just a little bit. Okay. I grab the move chain, the middle circle, and just yank it. And you see how it's kind of stretching that for me? Okay. Now I'm going to mask everything except the toe of his boot and do the same exact thing. I'll put the pivot point right there where the mask ends and just, whoa, not move, rotate. And just kind of bend that. Now, he's not really flat-footed. Excuse me, not really flat-footed. So I'm gonna pull. Sorry, sounding like Robert Kennedy there for a second. I'm just gonna pull this down a little bit more and do the thing with the toe again. Rotate and bring that up. So you can see up here it got a little funky, and over here there's some funkiness going on. I'm gonna have to go in there and fix that and sculpt some believable folds now. But that's pretty much all I want to do with the legs. Maybe I will pull this in a little bit. Let's try that, because from the front view he doesn't look like he's striding toward the viewer. And I can hide bits. I can hide the hand if that's in my way. Let's do that. Let's hide the hands. Okay. And what was I doing? Oh, I was rotating this inward a little bit, just a little bit. Okay. And let's do the same with the left leg. So it's tweaking. It's tweaking back and forth, just until you're happy with the pose. But the point being, you need low subdivisions. I'm doing all of this on level 1, and it's really not doing much damage to my model. I'm going to rotate this inward a little bit like that, so that his foot is facing us a little bit. You see how his pants are puffing up right there, and it's going to help me when I sculpt the folds, because it's bending the pants where they actually should be bent, right? Okay. Now let's bring the hands back, and I am going to hide everything. These are the seams in his pants. I'm going to hide everything except the upper torso. Let's see. Yep, I've got everything. Now, whoa, what happened? I am going to, what happened? Oh, I need to mask it. There we go. Now I'm going to rotate the whole upper body forward like that. Like he's lurching toward us, right? Okay. Now I will, hang on, let me turn off, I've been working with the color on. Let me turn off the color so you can see better. Now I'm going to isolate the head and tilt the head upward. Here's the skull, the eyes, and these veins. There we go. Whoops. Bring back the head and just rotate the head. See if I can get a good pivot point right there. Just rotate the head slightly up, so he's looking at the viewer again. All right, I'm liking that. I'm going to save my work. Let's call it Thing 35 posed. Okay, clear the mask. Now let's do the arms. Let's do one of the arms. let's hide all of the bits of the arms. All right, I think I've got everything. Just want to make sure I've got, oh no, I'm missing the top of the cuff. Okay, I think I've got all the arms now. And what I'm going to do is mask that side off. And I'm going to mask the whole guy off as well. Bring it back. Now only this arm is active, right? So let's do an extreme bend on this one. Let's see. First of all, let's bring it outward, away from the body. And then we will mask off the upper arm. I should still be on my first subdivision, yep. Right? And then I will invert the mask, get my rotate chain, start my pivot right at the elbow, and bend the arm. And I'm going to bend a little bit back that way, just so, and I'm going to pull it with the move chain. Just so it's not completely mushed. Let's rotate it in a little bit. Okay. Let me grab this hand. Mask that hand off. And I'm just going to rotate the wrist outward a little bit. Like that. Maybe rotate it like that, because he's going to be holding a beam. There we go. Okay, now this arm, I'm going to do the same thing. I got to make sure I get all the arm parts. See, I'm trying to retain all of the polygroups, just in case. This is just for a demo. I still have work to do on the symmetrical one, the symmetrical version. So I'm trying to keep all of my subdivisions. I can hit auto groups, and that will make this arm different from that arm, the polygroups, and I could isolate parts easier. Right now I still have symmetrical polygroups on both arms, but that's okay. No big deal. Just takes a second. I'm just going to pull this arm out and back a little bit. And kind of rotate it. Let's see if I could rotate it outward. Oh, what's happening? Move. There we go. Something like that. I think this lower leg, this right leg, should be bent a little bit more. You know what? I'm not going to use a chain. I'm going to grab a big move brush. I'm just going to kind of tweak it that way. Whoa, look how he's got hammer time pants on. He's got balloon parachute pants. We've really got to go back in there and fix a lot of this. But whoa, you get the idea. Okay, back to work. So really, that's all I was trying to do is just show you the basics of posing a figure, how I do it anyway. I just rely heavily on my low subdivisions. Let's mask off the lower body completely. And I'm just going to, let me hide the head again. I'm just going to mask off the head. Rotate the torso. I'm going to use the gizmo for this one. I'm going to put it right smack in the middle. And I'm just going to rotate the torso slightly like that. Maybe even like that. Just to get a little contrapposto going. Okay? Now you see I'm going to have to tuck his pants back in, etc. But that's kind of the pose I'm shooting for. And I'll go in with a move brush and tweak, you know, push that shoulder up a little bit, push this shoulder down a little bit, bring this knee out a little bit maybe. But overall, that's all I'm trying to do. So I hope that was a little bit informative on how I pose a figure. Before I go, let me bring him back into my original scene. Let's append the posed figure. Okay, excuse me. Let's see. We'll call this posed, thing posed, rename posed figure. And suddenly I have 50 million points. Let's put the base on, just the posed figure and the base on. And you can see he's kind of stiff. He doesn't look menacing enough. So I'm probably going to really tweak this pose and bend, lurch him forward a little bit more. Like that. But you get the idea. But before I go, let me just append a cube. Scale it down. Rotate it. And just give him his big weapon, his big 4x4 beam. And of course the fingers are going to need to wrap around. Alright, hang on. Just move that up like that. So there you go. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this quick little tutorial on how to pose a figure. And Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to the channel if you have a mind to. I appreciate it, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.